Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Mellow Mint, a bright and refreshing blend of Pacific Northwest grown peppermint and spearmint. The Brothers Apothecary, fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all so much for watching again. Shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's going on, guys? My name is Hoepless.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
All right. I'm from Lincoln City, Oregon. It's a pretty small town.
Out on the coast, right?
Yeah. And what I do, that's what you said? I make music, I engineer, I produce, I edit, I'm a man of all traits.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, you definitely got a pretty decent catalog of your own music as well.
Oh, yeah. A lot. A ton.
And what got you into music initially? What was the starting point for you?
High school. I took a trade in music and I started out making beats and stuff, but I was never really interested in vocals, but started out with making beats.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it was was it a beat production class?
No, it was music class, but it was a big old studio, and it had all the bells and whistles and stuff. But whoever took that class, they can do whatever they wanted. And I just wanted to do producing.
Okay, so it was available.
Yeah.
There was also an opportunity to just do music parts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That seems like an interesting opportunity for a high school setting.
Yeah. I went to a charter school, so it's
gotcha. So
it's cool.
I dig that.
Yeah.
And then these next questions are just ones that we ask early. We ask them often. They're fun foundation questions.
Okay.
And the first one, what was the first album you ever bought with your own money? Tyler the Creator Wolf. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's a quality first album to buy.
Amen.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, I think the episode right before yours had a mention about Tyler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then what was the first live show you ever went to? That was one you wanted to go to.
The classical rock band Styx.
Okay.
Yeah. I went when I was 16. Styx. Yeah.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
What was your attachment to that? How did you find out about them?
I grew up on classical rock.
Okay.
Yeah. My pops took me to a show with my twin brother.
Oh, gotcha. And was your family musical growing up, or are you the first generation of musician?
My twin brother was a rapper.
Okay.
While we were in high school, while I was producing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, nothing. Just me and my brother. And my brother doesn't do it anymore.
Okay, so you two kind of got into it at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. But it sounds like you definitely had music appreciation in your house.
Oh yeah. I mean, I from super young age, I had a stupid little drum kit and a whole bunch of.
Oh, they started you on the good instrument.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome. It's cool that you at least got the support.
Yeah.
And were they open to you doing production and things like that when you got into it?
No. I mean, sort of. It was kind of that's a cool dream, buddy, but you're gonna get a job.
Yeah.
So they were supportive of it, but they didn't really think I was gonna take it as far as I did.
Yeah, they saw it as a hobby, not as a career path.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, I mean, I get that. I definitely, as a kid, I thought I was gonna do more production related things in a professional state too, and they were just well, we don't understand. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't have
to. It's
to.
fine.
Yeah.
And then I thought I'd be a rock star, and that was where I messed up. Should have stuck to production as my main.
Yeah.
But that's cool. At least they were not against you getting into music.
Yeah. Yeah. They were cool. That's a nice hobby. You're good at it. Stick with it.
Yeah.
But they were it's not going to go anywhere. Like,
look at you now.
Yeah.
And then I guess, do you have a defining moment then, like past that point where you decided to take it more seriously?
Oh yeah. COVID hit, and I lost my job, and I was like, I gotta like make this work. Like, and I wasn't really engineering or anything like that, but I was just making music, and I was like uploading to SoundCloud, and I was like, I gotta like crack down. I really want to like make this musician thing work out. So once COVID hit around 2020 was when I was like, this is like make it or break it kind of thing going on.
Okay. So you just kind of took the opportunity to lean into it because we were kind of stuck not doing a lot anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Also, that seemed like a very COVID friendly like job because you could produce from your room and send it to someone else's room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, look at you making the most of a bad situation.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, now let's go ahead and let's get on into you as the artist. Let's find out about you in the modern day.
Okay.
And we're going to get the super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick your name?
Man. So I went through a breakup, and you and the people watching this will see that my name Hoepless is spelled a little bit differently.
Yeah. There's the two letters are a little swip.
Yeah. I've had some people say Hoepless, and I'm like, where are you finding the extra letter there? But I went through a pretty bad breakup in 2019, and I was like, man, these hoes are hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so my name before that was Gucci Suicide as a producer. And I took on the name Hoepless because I was like, these hoes are hopeless. It just clicked. I was like, it's very like different, like, but not at the same time. It's like you can tell someone your music name is Hoepless, but they'll be like, they'll look it up and they'll be like, I didn't find anything. I'll be like, oh, Hoepless. So yeah, pretty much just generated that name from a broken heart.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, it's definitely, it is unique. And when you look at it, it's one of those words where you have to like double look at it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, the letters are out of order.
Yeah.
And that's like, like you're like, wait, did I just read it wrong? And then you see it and you're like, but then you got to sound it out. And like you said, it hits.
Yeah.
It's the exact same sound of word because the phonetics play just right and your brain can connect the dots on the rest of it. So it's definitely thought provoking by presentation.
Yeah. And people will be like, they'll look at my name and they'll be like, wait, that's sick as fuck. They'll be like, you put those two together, that's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely got some character to it. And aesthetically, it looks cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like that. Yeah. I think I always try to like, I do this bit where I break down people's names, and that is one of the things where it's like when it physically looks cool, especially because it's got that first little boop from the H.
Yeah.
That's mimicked by the P in reverse.
Yeah.
So you could really do a lot with that.
Yeah.
As a design.
Yep.
And that goes a long way. And I guarantee you, nobody else has that name.
Yeah, nobody does.
But somebody else could have it spelt the regular way.
Someone does.
Yeah.
I got in this like little Instagram war with him one time.
Oh, geez.
He was like, there can only be one. I'm like, what are you talking about, man?
Like, you are the only one where the P comes before the E.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like we're different.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely a fun experience for sure.
Yeah.
And then let's go ahead and let's talk about your writing process for a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
Okay.
So when you get inspired, and we'll say just for Hoepless's music at the moment, although Gucci Suicide, that I could see how now that wouldn't work out as well because one of those words we get dinged on every social media, but powerful production name.
Yeah.
Like that. I could see that hitting in tags really hard.
Yeah, it was.
we'll get back to that in a moment. So when you're ready to write music, what are some of the things you do to get a track started?
Listen to music. Whether it's my own or I go beat searching, and depending on what beat or like type beat, or if my friends send me beats, I'll like, depending on how that beat sounds, I'll listen to artists that kind of like correlate that sound. Yeah, so I don't write. I freestyle everything. I feel like writing kind of blocks my thinking process for some reason. Yeah. Like looking at a phone and like trying to like, if you mess up a line, you got to do it again.
Recreate that cadence you would imagine the first time.
Yeah. And it just gets annoying after a while. So I just feel like freestyling is just like so much better because it also comes from the soul a lot more. So, yeah.
I've found for the people who are somewhere in the middle that when you do just the bullet point words, it's like kind of like how you'd write a speech, you only put the like the dominant word. You don't put the full phrase.
Yeah.
That has seemed to help people that are somewhere in the middle space. But I think being able to freestyle everything, if that's your approach, that's, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think that that's just a different approach, and it gets appreciated in its own way.
Oh, yeah.
There is something cool about being able to be like, everything I do is off the top.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the dynamic you're going for, it's definitely appreciated by the people who appreciate it.
Yeah, like sometimes my fiance should be like, "Do you write anything today?" I'm like, "What do you mean write?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you
Did
mean?
you practice today?
She'll
Which
correct
I guess
herself.
that's, as somebody who freestyles, like, 'cause that is your main thing. Do you do it a large amount during your day to like stay sharp, or do you not do it a lot during the day so your freshest ideas come out?
Oh, I do it like all day long. Like
Okay.
I'll play a beat in my head and just like
Yeah.
start like rapping or singing or whatever. But no, I like to freestyle all the time. Like even if like when you go into a grocery store and you hear the little alarm, like a clothing thing, it's like deet, deet. I'll like be like, yeah.
That's the producer in you for sure trying to come out, and you're just like, hey, wait, I got backup for this already.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. When you're freestyling, do you try to imagine like beats that you end up making later, or do you just kind of like let it feel however it feels?
I kind of let it feel however it feels. Okay. Yeah. Just like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And then do you mostly prefer to rap over your own beats? Do you enjoy rapping over other people's? Or is there a meet in the middle? What's that like?
Oh man. Rapping and singing on my own beats is a little difficult for me. I actually just released a tape with like my entire, like I produced everything on it, but
okay. So you mainly don't rap over your own stuff.
No, I have a hard time doing it because it's kind of like, listening to your song a bunch of times. Like when you listen to your beat a bunch of times, you lose your thinking process. When you hear a fresh new beat and you're like, you just go into it, like it's just there. But when you just, you produce the beat, you spent like a half an hour to an hour on it, perfecting it. It's just like, I don't even know what to do with this now. I'm just going to put it on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat as you. I can't, it's hard for me to write words over music I make.
Yeah.
Like that just, it for some reason, the connection isn't there.
Yeah.
Because producer brain, like you have too much understanding of the parts.
Yeah.
And you end up thinking, man, I need to turn the snare down.
Yeah.
You're trying to come up with the next line and you're like, there's too much snare in my headphones.
Yeah. Like,
oh, damn it. I get it now.
I'll even like sing on the project file, like with the beat and everything, with all the snares and claps and everything, just in case like I like want to turn something down, or like if I want to like do a beat pause or something.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess once you get a track finished, so maybe not like produced and put out, but once you've finished like recording a track to where it could be recreatable, how long does it usually take you getting comfortable performing?
Like performing in what sense? Like
on like if you were going to do one of your tracks on stage.
Oh, like how long does it take for me to? Yeah,
like just like acclimate to where you could do it without like having to like look at what you had said before.
Pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know. I listen to my music a lot. I'm my biggest fan, and so I know my lyrics pretty well. But performing is a completely different like thing. Like I'm. Oh man, it's a nerve-wracking thing.
No, totally. And you know what? It's funny. That's actually been kind of the response to that concept as of late. It's kind of a running theme. So I guess we're gonna dive into that a little bit.
Okay.
What is it about performing that you find like either like difficult or hindering?
The eyes.
Ah,
the eyes on you. It's like everyone. It's different when like you're going in a mall and like you do something funny and like everyone looks at you.
Yeah.
It's because it's funny. But like when you're up on a stage and like you're looking down at this crowd of people and they're all looking back at you, jumping around, there's something about it that like is super nerve-wracking. Like
no, totally.
Like I performed last year with Z Smoke and Mitch and all them, and
shout out Z Smoke.
Yeah, shout out Z Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first time too, and so like it was just it was a different experience for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so have you not performed a lot then?
Only one time.
Oh,
I was supposed to go on tour last year with like Lil Tracy, David Shoddy, a couple of people, but that got canceled, and thank goodness, because it was a world tour, and so I was like, I'm not that big yet. Like,
I mean, you could get big quick if you go on a world tour.
That's why we had Lil Tracy, like, because like people would come because he was headlining.
Yeah.
but I'm just glad it got canceled.
No, that's definitely a big endeavor to go on for sure.
Yeah.
Although I will say there's something about when you're performing in a place where you for sure don't know everybody.
Yeah.
It's easier in its own ways.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to like be like, oh, what's up, Tim?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're just like person A, person B. And bigger, you know what it is? I think bigger rooms, it's almost a little easier because when it's a sea of people, it's not any single pair of eyes. But when there's only 20 people, you can look at all 20 of them.
Yeah,
sure.
Especially if they're like, the crowd goes mild.
Yeah, well, that like, and when they're more at eye level, like if you're not performing on a stage where the stage comes up to like people's shoulders, like that's different too. Like when you're looking down at a group of people versus like.
With
like
them?
near, if your shoulders are at like their face versus if your feet are at their face in height difference, it makes a difference.
Most definitely.
But performing in and of itself it's so nerve wracking, except for the exact moment where you're doing the music. Yeah, like it always goes away just for that moment. Yeah, but no, the anticipation leading up to it's tough, and the nice thing is that for a fair amount of people. With repetition, it does get smoother. Yeah. It doesn't go away, but you start to really get an opportunity to lean into that anticipation because you've kind of Pavloved yourself where every time you feel that, you get rewarded by the performance. Right. Yeah. So that's just for the next performance you do. Try to think of it that way. Be like, I can't wait to do the thing I'm about to do. Yeah. Yeah. And everybody is there because you're there. Yeah. Like it's cool. Especially when you get people to react to what you're doing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I headlined the show, so I was like, "Oh shit!" So it was like you were just coming out swinging for your show. Yeah, yeah. And it was, everyone was like butt fuck tired by the end of the day. Like my set was at like 9 p.m. Yeah, so they'd been there for a minute. Yeah, they'd been there for like probably like 3 hours or so, just jumping around for everyone else's set. So by the time my set come up, everyone's like tired. I'm like, I know you guys are tired, but you need to get pumped. I can't be alone in this. Like, yeah, but yeah, performing is a fun experience. Yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to your next one. I think. Me too. Now that you have that first one out of the way, I think you'll find that the second one. Oh yeah, and it's just. Once you've done it in more than one place too. Yeah. Yeah. Glasses help too. Sunglasses. Yep. So you don't. Yeah. If you don't have to worry about making eye contact with them initially, if you don't have to worry about them being like, why is he making eye contact with me? That goes a long way. Yeah. You could be looking down at people and looking away. Yeah. And like I used to perform with sunglasses a lot. Yeah. I get that for sure. Oh yeah. And then I want to look back on the last year. Okay. So I know we're a little into 2024 now, but let's say we can include 2023 to now. Okay. But looking back, how has your process changed? With everything, like music-wise, everything. Man, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like I just, I guess then maybe how has it solidified? Like what are you doing now that you find is helpful or useful or functional? Connection with artists. I wasn't doing too much of that in the years prior. And do you mean like connection, like outreach, or connection like one-on-one in the moment? Outreach, like just making connections, making friends, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Has definitely is a new thing for me. I've always been kind of like leave me alone kind of guy, but making connections with people has definitely helped my career kind of go a little further. Gotcha. Music wise, and production wise, I've kind of taken more of a step back from vocals as much. Mm-hmm. I still make music. I mean, I still sing every day, but I've been more focused on the engineering and like the making beats and that kind of process. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes I think we can hit those strides where we're just kind of doing the thing that works. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it sounds like you've clearly got kind of goals in mind with what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And plenty of people have said really nice things about your level of production and work in general. So obviously you were excelling in that as well. Yeah. And so I guess do you, for some of your previous work, because I was going through some of your early work, your most recent EP that came out, what was it? You Wish for Grass, You Get Dirt. Yeah, it's a really interesting EP. Yeah, especially what was the track? It was Head Rush Your Touch.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one.
That's such an interesting track, especially for like the middle of that EP.
Yeah.
What was kind of the thought process behind putting that track together?
Be as like different as possible from what you hear every day, or like, you know, what your friends will send you, because it's like super subtle, you know.
Yeah, especially in the beginning. Really it leads you in a direction.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden you hear my vocals and they come in like, and they're like deep vocals. They're
they had a bite to them.
Yeah,
they pulled you in on, and it was stylistically different than what you had heard prior.
They're transposed a little lower, so it makes it sound a little deeper.
I noticed that for sure.
And then all of a sudden this fucking crazy bass comes in.
That pounding beat.
Yeah. I loved that part. Like I remember being at my computer and I had my speakers and my sub on, and I was just like,
yep.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like the presence of that sound feels like what a lot like, and I'm not comparing it to them musically, but like the presence of the sound has what like these really like bigger pop-ish groups, like, you know how Imagine Dragons does that?
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it's all very simple. It's all very spread out, but that always feels so like hokey or like gimmicky. Like I feel like they're doing it as kind of a wow factor. Whereas yours, it had this element that like it commanded such a big tonal change because it's still very sparse. It's still very spread out by itself.
Yeah.
But it happens at like almost double the pace of everything else that was happening around it, and gave it just this really like sturdy texture that I just thought was really, really inviting, especially at that point in the EP.
Yeah.
That
EP's fun.
It is. It was a really cool listen all the way through.
It's got lots of weird sounds, you know, like I put a lot of dogs barking, like, you know, I think at some point I put a lawnmower in one of them and birds tweeting, and I wanted it to be like,
it was almost like atmospheric.
Exactly. Like I wanted it to be like soundscape. Like just, you know, very different from everything. And like that's kind of the path I've been like taking with my whole production lately. It's very like soundscapey. I love it. But
in like a way that almost felt like not like anti-cinematic, but it didn't feel cinematic. It felt very like be present. Like it felt like you were like trying to create the allure of a sound,
right? Not
trying to recreate the sound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it definitely stood out. But I mean, even I was going back a little bit to one of your earlier albums, Long Term, and that, I mean, first of all, the production on the whole thing is really good. Like it really stands out.
Shout out Dercept and Siam Spark.
Yeah, like that, like definitely leaned into that a lot. But in particular, I Guess. That was a really cool track.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, it was one of your longer ones.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, because you definitely have a shorter range of general song length, I've noticed.
Yeah.
But like, it was such a cool track because it kind of started similarly. It was very, you know, like it kind of had this mellow element, and then it just kind of became almost electronic.
Yeah.
And then never didn't become electronic.
Yeah, it's Long Term, that was a fun album to make as well. It definitely has more of like the hyperpop aspect to it. I think I released that last year, maybe.
Yeah, I believe it was in 23.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's a fun track. I like that one. Yeah, that's a good album.
Yeah. And then just one last deep cut, because this one was this track was so different from all your other tracks.
Yeah.
Dirty Little Secret was a bop.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
man.
That's such a fun track. Like, and like I could tell you were like leaning into something different.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was like more of a pop vibe to it.
Yeah.
Like, Dirty Little Secret.
Yeah, it was very like,
you got one.
But like it still kind of hit. Like like I heard it and I was like, yeah. Like this is like not like a welcome change, but like it was cool to like get that deep into your discography and still find something different. It's cool that you've been experimenting. With different things for that long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And now getting back to kind of just the more general range of questions here. We've talked a lot about, you know, your experience with the music, your actions, your reactions, things that you've done with it and such. And I mean, I guess we haven't touched too heavily on the production side, but I would love to know what music gives back to you when it's just music one-on-one.
Like what I listen to, that kind of.
No, like when it's just you and the music. When you're like, what does it give back to you?
Peace of mind. It really does. Like it's a therapeutic thing to me. Like being like, therapists are great. I have nothing against therapists, but
I mean, they're a whole profession. They're there for a reason.
Yeah, but so is music, and it's like, why pay to go to therapy when you can just sing into a mic?
When you can just pay a ton of money for music equipment.
Yeah. It's a therapeutic thing for me. Definitely anything from making beats to vocals, and it doesn't matter. Like if I'm locked in, have a headset on or my speakers on, whatever. It's just like, it's like a gravitational pull of all of my negative energy, and I'm able to put that into my music.
Yeah.
And it does
purges it for you.
Yeah. It does make me quite like my life quite vulnerable for other people to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's what it's there for.
No, totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, music in a sense comes from vulnerability.
Yeah.
It comes from, especially like, there was somebody once who, I'm blanking on who said this, but it was such a good answer. They said that they had used music to get their voice out because in person they couldn't talk to people normally. Like they were the quietest person in the world, but anytime they did music, they got to get them out of them.
Yeah.
And then they learned how to do that first into a mic and then in front of people.
Right.
And it's such a revealing aspect. And for people who didn't get, like, especially weren't like shown how to express that just casually,
Mm-hmm.
like weren't just like, I'm having a bad day, I want to talk about it. Like for the people who never learned how to do that because it was not taught for a long time, it's really only been kind of a focus in the more recent years. Music as an opportunity for those kinds of things, for the people who can find it, it's often life-changing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, changed my life.
Yeah.
To the fullest extent.
That I always appreciate that it gives us something to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it gives you an opportunity to feel accomplished every day.
Yep.
And with your own hands.
Yeah.
Like, like I can't build a house. Like I don't have the tools. I don't have the experience. You wouldn't want to live in a house I built.
Yeah.
But being able to do this stuff and like at the end of it, be proud of it and then show it to other people and have them enjoy it.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not really one for like the money and stuff involved, you know? But being able to like at the end of the month, like, get a couple $100 paycheck on Spotify, it's like, what? Yeah. Like, how did that even happen? Like, it's so weird to me.
Yeah. Getting paid because people appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is such it feels counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Because we're trained for our whole lives to think that it has to come from toiling and boiling and, doing all of this and doing all of that, show up for work, put on a suit, do this.
Yeah.
But people appreciate passion.
Yes.
People appreciate creativity. And it's even though music is so accessible to everybody now,
mm-hmm.
good stuff still stands out.
Yeah.
And if you're thoughtful about it and you care enough, you're not going to care how long it takes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big part, is everybody who gives up, I always feel like they give up.
Yeah.
Like you can get tired of it and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with choosing no longer to pursue it. But if you stick with something and you're doing it passionately every day, not just phoning it in,
mm-hmm.
you're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's impossible not to if you're trying every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Whew, sorry, tangented on that one for a little bit, but thank you for your answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and let's dive into some hypothetical questions.
All right.
And for these ones, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Cool.
But the first one's pretty straightforward.
Right.
If you could work with any one person.
Frank Sinatra.
Perfect. The only requirement. Oh, wait. Is Frank Sinatra still alive?
No, he's dead.
Okay, then it wouldn't work because that is part of the requirement is they have to be alive.
Okay.
Who would you want to work with and how would you want to work with them?
That's a good question. My answer's always been Frank Sinatra.
I mean, that is a great answer. And I think if Frank was alive now, the cool stuff that would come from it would be incredible.
Yeah. I want to say like Haylog. He's a smaller artist, not too small. He's a pretty big artist at the same time, but he's like within the hyper pop.
Yeah, within the circles.
Yeah. Haylog definitely.
How do you spell that? That name sounds super familiar.
It's just Hey and then Log. Log.
Okay. So okay.
Some people call him Hey Log because his name's Logan. But I honestly don't know if it's Log or Log. So but his tag says Hey Log. So
wow. Yeah. No, man, that name sounds so familiar, but I can't put a pin on it. So I'm not gonna claim to know them. But
beautiful music.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Would love to work with them someday for sure.
And would you want to like co-produce a track? Would you want to like feature on theirs? Would you want them to work on yours? Like, I guess, how would you want to work with them?
I mean, all of the above, but I would definitely love for him to get on one of my tracks. And like, I would make the beat. He's also a super talented producer. But I mean, we could go in half and half on the beat.
No, totally.
Do the drums or the melody. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely want him to be on one of my songs because he doesn't do too many features on his side.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So that would be the most accessible way to get to them.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but they're on your radar and you would like to?
Connect in which way? Like
I guess for you, we'll make it a little open-ended. I would say, like, if you want to do one for as the musical artist, one for as the producer, even, we can make it a two-part answer.
Okay. Local artist. I'm not too sure on too many. But probably like 93 Feet of Smoke.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken and stuff.
Well, if they ever answer their DMs, maybe we'll get them on the show.
Yeah. Super cool dude. We've been talking since about 2018, but would love to work with him. It's always been a dream of mine. Like I got his name tatted on me when I was like 15.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, 93 Feet of Smoke for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely a solid choice. They put out some really good music.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits, and it's pretty literal in this one.
Right.
But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, guaranteed best lineup, guaranteed best show. And it doesn't have to be a venue. It can be anywhere.
Okay.
Where would you want to perform?
Oh. Man. The UK.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a super like generic answer, but like
I feel like anywhere there would be a vibe in its own way.
Yeah, I have lots of buddies up in the UK, and I mean, it just their accents too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to be surrounded by.
Yeah,
that.
just to hear that as the chants, and you're like, oh, even your booze would be all right.
Yeah, like boo.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I feel like there's so much history there too that you could kind of like if I went to the UK and I was going to perform somewhere, I would want to perform where like Iron Maiden first performed like one of their early works. You know what I mean? Like somewhere where it's like, even though it won't be the biggest place, it'll be a little hole in the wall if it still exists.
Yeah.
But like just knowing that was a point where something happened.
For sure.
Yeah, that would definitely be an experience.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have put out an album yesterday, or they could have not put out an album in 100 years. Who would you want an album from?
Lil Peep.
Good answer.
Well, I mean, actually, Lil Peep's music still drops a lot, so I'm gonna have to take back that question, because their management and his mom still drop like unreleased stuff still. So, Frank Sinatra.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Frank made it back, everybody.
Yeah.
You know what? I usually expand this question a little bit to be like, when would you have wanted to come out?
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved like a 2019 Frank Sinatra, right before, even like late 2018, right before COVID happened.
Yeah.
Everything was like seemingly like comfortable-ish. We were all right.
Oh yeah.
That would have probably gotten a lot of people through all that.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to between now and August?
I mean, I'm steadily working on singles.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to more get my foot in the door with bigger artists and stuff. But yeah, I'm mostly just gonna start releasing more singles, and I've dropped quite a few EPs and albums already. So
very much so.
Singles, and I'm gonna try and focus more on perfecting my vocal and my craft.
Okay.
Because I know there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done there. Yeah. So
now, do you mean your own vocals or like recording vocals for other people?
My own vocals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on any platform, Hoepless, HOEPLESS, and then on Instagram you can find me Love Hoepless, LUV, and then Hoepless is spelled the same as all the other platforms. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yeah. Shout out Z Smoke, Mitch HD. Shout out Dursep, Siam Spark, Drama. Shout out my fiance Brittany. Shout out Tristan. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go.
Go ahead.
Before we do, I'm gonna steal the camera for just a second.
Okay.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're gonna like it. But with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's like a deep cut. Not a lot of people know it, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Like any album?
Yeah. Oh my God, if it's a Frank Sinatra album. No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to have to go with Gray Sheep, Suicide Boys.
Okay.
Gray Sheep, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amazing album. I think it dropped 2016. Not a whole lot of people know about it. I mean, obviously a lot of people know about them, but that's an album that like
kind of flew under the radar for sure.
Yeah. It's I've been listening to the boys since like I was coming out of middle school, and so definitely I listen to their older music more, so that's definitely an album I feel like people should check out.
Oh yeah, definitely a solid choice.
Yeah.
Well, after you check out all of his music, definitely go give that a listen as well. All right, but we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Hoepless.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.